Welcome to Something to Talk About from the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center. I'm Reed Price. I'm glad to have you here. And guess what? The Something to Talk About podcast is the best of Bainbridge. We just got named by readers of the Bainbridge Review, and we are grateful for that acknowledgement. The program is sponsored by Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island, which offers independent living and assisted living and a vibrant memory care community up on Rolling Bay. If you'd like to tour their gorgeous campus and learn about day stay and respite programs, write down the number I'm about to give you, and they'll give you a free lunch on top of it all. 206-594-1010. It's fieldstonecommunities.com. Also, we would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the ancestral homeland of the Puget Sound Coast Salish people. Specifically, the Suquamish tribe has lived on these lands and waters since time immemorial, and we are grateful for their stewardship, and we are learning how to be good stewards ourselves of these lands and waters. Today, we're going to talk about One Call for All with Lisa Timmins, and One Call for All is a real hometown enterprise. It's been going on for a while, and it's unique to our island. So, Lisa, thanks for joining us. And this is your first
Yeah,
year at the hot seat of One Call for
at
All.
the helm. That's
So
right.
tell us a
That's
little bit about how you got to be where
right.
you are today, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. This is great. And the timing is fantastic because, as you know, Reed, October is red envelope month. So these little babies are going to be dropping into everyone's this is a fresh one, hot off the press, 24-25 campaign envelope within a couple of weeks. So October is the start of the busy season for us. So how did I end up filling these big shoes left by Tracy?
Interesting. We're getting a
That's a
little
really good
breakup. Are you, Susan? Are you hearing that?
question.
I'm not hearing it, and her face is frozen.
So uh-oh. Oh no, I have a feeling that the Marge Williams Center Wi-Fi is can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
We can, yeah.
You got it? Okay. Yeah, the Wi-Fi at the Marge is a little bit spotty, so just let me know if that happens again and I'll pause. So I was on the board of One Call for All, the board of directors. So I've definitely been through the annual cycle, but just like all of you out there, I sort of have seen it from the outside looking in, maybe a little more depth of detail, but and of course I've lived on the island for 20 years, so I've known all about One Call for All and the red envelope and all of that. And when Tracy announced that she was leaving, we talked as a board and we decided that I would fill in at least for the time being, and perhaps long term, we're going to sort of get through the busy season and see where we stand. It's very much an annual cycle, so I have yet to go through the super busy time.
We're all rooting
Yeah.
for you. We're all rooting for you.
It's been great though. I have to say, like, it's such a community establishment, such a community tradition, and everyone has been so fantastic.
How many nonprofits did you say? You broke up a little bit there.
Oh no. 120 is what we have this year.
Those are organizations that either are on Bainbridge or do business with Bainbridge Islanders, right?
Correct. I think the way it's worded now is that these are nonprofit organizations that serve Bainbridge Island in some way. They're all based in Washington State. A large majority of them are actually based on Bainbridge. And then we have a few scattered around Kitsap, and some are in Seattle, but they all serve Bainbridge Islanders in some way.
And they all have to be certified nonprofits that are registered with the state.
Correct. And every year, actually, you probably know this from the senior center, but every year there is an annual application that the organization has to go through. It's not half an hour to fill out. And that's just for us to sort of confirm that, yes, you're still current with Washington Secretary of State Charities Division, that you still hold your IRS 501c3 nonprofit tax ID and, you know, other sort of various, just to make sure everyone's got their ducks in a row. And
The way that it works for nonprofits, you register and then you get listed on the list. There's a long
Exactly.
list of names here, and
Yep.
so you'll get this and
You got it.
and you'll get it in the mail, and then you can put dollar amounts in all those little places and total them up, and you can either pay with a credit card, or you can pay with a check. You can make it a current one-time or repeat donation. And so it's a really easy way, especially if you're looking for nonprofits that are probably not your first or second choice, that you want to contribute more widely. Because one of the great things about this from a nonprofit point of view is that for every donation of $20 or more, the nonprofit receives a vote in the community fund. So tell me a little bit, Lisa, about what the community fund is and what that means.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad you highlighted that, Reed, because I do think that is one of the sort of unwritten benefits about participating in One Call for All, along with just the whole community flavor of it. Yeah, you're correct that every individual donation of $20 or more will earn you one share of the community fund. And it varies from year to year. I think it generally hovers around $4 per share. This past year, it was actually $5.15, which I think is the highest it's ever been. For whatever reason, we had a lot of donors that specifically gave to the community fund. And that sometimes that can be donors who just can't decide among all the 120 organizations, or they just sort of want to spread the wealth and share it among everyone equally. But as part of our second disbursement of the year, which happens in August, we tally up all the donations that an organization has gotten throughout the year, and every single donation that has been $20 or more, that meant an extra $5.15 added to that check. So really a $20 donation turns into a $25 donation and so on. So it can really sort of add up.
Yeah, well, and I think that it's a great way if you're not sure. Susan is joining us, who just recently came to the island, and she might not know about maybe some of the organizations that provide support here, but she knows that probably those that are getting multiple gifts of $20 are going to be loved and maybe valued. And so that might be a good way to, give part of your money to the community fund and know that you're covering those. Because if somebody gives a $10,000 gift, that's still just one vote.
That's right. That's right.
I've done quite a bit of fundraising in my life. And I've been to Bainbridge since, well, it's going on 10 or 11 years I've been visiting. But this is the first year I decided to explore your organization. But I've done a lot of that, and sometimes it doesn't matter. A lot of people say, well, I can't afford to give. But if you say, hey, you can give $1, or you can give $100, or you give 1,000, whatever is comfortable for you, to the individual group that you like, or to this community fund. I think it's such a nice spread that you've got. I've never seen this before. It's really nice. I like it.
Yeah, as I said, it's unique to our island. It's been going on for, well, you can tell me maybe how many years, Lisa.
It's 1960.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 64, I guess maybe this technically would be our 65th campaign. Yeah.
All right.
Great.
Since before I was born. Yeah.
And so the other thing that is, of course, from the point of view of the nonprofit, wonderful, is that you collect contributions yourself that cover all of the mailing, printing, postage, credit card fees, etc. So that means that if you as a donor give money through this, it's not going to be one of those things where you're going to get and can you contribute another $1 at $2.95 so that this actually gets the full amount to the organization?
That's right. And that's actually another thing that we like to highlight. Again, as you said, Reed, an intangible benefit for the, or maybe it's actually quite tangible benefit for the participating organizations, that one call for all, we actually list ourselves among the 120 organizations, and this island being this island and being so generous, we are actually able to collect enough money for our own operating fund that it completely covers the cost of printing and mailing and running the red envelope campaign and paying all of the credit card processing fees and just associated fees with all the donations coming in. So like you said, if a donor donates $100 to an organization, every single penny of that gets passed on to the organization, and any costs associated with that are absorbed by one call for all.
Now, you are a 12-month-a-year operation, so you could, for example, give to One Call for All in February, give through One
Absolutely.
Call for All, I guess would be a better way to put it. Or you
Yeah.
could give to One Call for All.
Yeah.
And that amount will eventually make its way to the nonprofit. You can give repeated gifts so that, again, those are held and then normally dispersed, but I know that because I've worked with Tracy on this before, if there is an emergency or a organization is trying to meet some sort of a funding deadline, One Call for All Lisa will come in Thursday in February and try to make sure that the check gets passed on if there's a larger amount that you're trying to pass on, which is just so helpful. Mostly we are able to operate. I'm sure most of your participating organizations are with the 2 checks a year.
Lisa,
So,
That's right.
okay, so yeah, Susan,
do you have a website? If I go online to One Call for All, Bainbridge Island, Washington, will I find a website?
Yeah, hopefully it'll be your
Oh,
first hit on Google. It's
okay,
onecallforall.org, and it's spelled out like
okay,
ONE, one call for FOR, all, just all letters, like one big long
ORG.
word,
Okay.
.org.
Okay.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go. There it
perfect.
is.
there
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Reed.
So this is the website, and you can go through the
Perfect.
directory on here, or
Mhm.
you can look at all of the things here, and you can also give. You can click on the red envelope icon to donate,
Right.
and then so this is just like the paper form, only it's online.
Online. Perfect. Yeah.
So are you getting, Lisa, a lot more donations this way online than you used to?
You know, I actually don't have historical data on that. I just have the last couple of years. And I know that it's about 50-50 in terms of, maybe not in terms of dollar amount, but in terms of number of transactions, that about 50% of the volume of transactions happen online. And then we still get about 50% via snail mail, which, in this day and age, I think is actually probably a pretty high percentage. But I think a lot of people which is why we actually still physically mail the envelope, because I think a lot of people like, it's like getting an actual catalog. Like there's something nice about looking through. I think a fair number of people get this in the mail and then go online and donate, but a lot of people, I think, still like to actually fill this out and write a physical check and send it in the mail. So yeah, about 50-50.
And
But we're happy,
there'll probably be a letter
we're
that
happy
goes with
either
it.
way.
So on this page, are you gonna
Yeah.
have this again this year? So
Yeah.
this is a list of all
Yeah,
the,
so it's got
Go ahead.
slightly more detailed, descriptions. I think they're only like 35 words, so it's not a whole lot. But if you go to our website there and you go through that nonprofit directory, there's a slightly longer description for each nonprofit. If you think like, oh, that sounds kind of intriguing, I'd like to learn more about that particular organization. So personally, I think it's wonderful. I know I mentioned this to you before, Reed. I think it's sort of a win-win scenario. It's great for donors because it's one-stop shopping. You can hit all your favorite nonprofits at once with one transaction instead of having to write multiple checks or go to multiple websites. And then for the actual organizations, it's also it's a win-win situation because, you know, for a lot of the organizations, I think we are their lifeline, and a large majority of their operating funds come from One Call for All. But then there are a lot of organizations on the island that are certainly larger than we are and maybe have their own development staff and are raising funds elsewhere. But, you know, they still get this check from us, and it's sort of like the icing on the cake. And so it's no extra work for them. So I think it all works out.
I will say, you know, from the point of view of the Senior Community Center, so we have 2,000 members. Those are people who we are going to correspond with as the coming months come. But there are a lot of people who aren't members of the Senior Center who recognize the value that the Senior Community Center brings. And so this is an opportunity for them, thanks to One Call for All, to say, oh yeah, I'd like to throw a little, what do
To
they say?
support.
Yeah, the political people, can you chip in? That's what they're saying to us every day now. Can you chip in?
Yeah, that's right.
And we're grateful for that. It does make a big difference in our annual budget for sure. And I know we're not alone.
Yeah, yeah. And it also,
Well,
I was going to say it's also a way to raise awareness too. I think for some of the smaller organizations in particular, I think of the senior center as being maybe a little bit more high profile on the island, but you know, there are a lot of like teeny tiny little small profits that work in a very specialized space that people might not know about, and it's a nice way to educate the community about them as well.
go ahead, Susan.
Lisa, could you just point out a few of those smaller ones? I'm curious that are on the list. I'm certainly aware of the museum, which is absolutely marvelous. You know, the planetarium. I mean, Battle Point Park with the wonderful summer jazz. You know, but the little stuff I'm not aware.
So I was just going to say, like, among the new organizations that we have this year, and we have 6 new organizations opting in. One of them is the Bainbridge Island Poet Laureate Program, which is brand new. And I think that's fabulous, you know, and we have such a well-educated, creative community on Bainbridge. I think a lot of people might be drawn to that. We have one called Neurodiversity Ally. Peaceful Morning Farm is a small farm that raises fresh organic food with all volunteer labor, and then donating it to local food banks, and just teaching about sustainable agriculture. That's another sort of fledgling organization that I think, you know, it's great to have them participating this year as well. And I mean, I could go through and point out a whole bunch, but.
Well, I was going to say that usually there's an insert in the Bainbridge Review.
Yes.
So if you're a regular subscriber, you'll get it in the Bainbridge Review. If you aren't, it's in the mailer that goes out to everybody, the 98110.
That's right.
And so I'm wondering, in past years, you featured organizations in that publication. Are you doing a featured organization or two this year?
We are, in fact, that is part of what October is all about for us. The that supplement to the Bainbridge Review is going to be coming out the last Friday of the month. I want to say it's like October 25th. I don't know, I don't have a calendar right in front of me. I should know the date, but we have 5 organizations that we're featuring this year, and they're actually the ones that when you called up the website, Reed, they're the ones that are sort of featured at the top of the website. So Arms Around Bainbridge is one of them. Assistance Dogs Northwest, Suyamatsu Farm Legacy Alliance, Battle Point Astronomical Association, and then we've also got Kitsap Foster Care Association. So those are the 5 that will sort of have feature articles. We try to just sort of find 5 organizations sort of across the spectrum of you know, various categories. both size and sector served and how long they've been around and all of that. Just a nice cross section. So those will be the 5 featured this year that everyone will see in the review supplement. And then, as you mentioned, Reed, there will also be a sort of a copy of the donation form as part of that. And then also just a couple of general articles about what we're talking about right now, about One Call for All in general and some of the history. And that will go to every household on Bainbridge. Everyone gets the 98110 free publication.
Great. Yeah, this is definitely a very busy month because you're stuffing the envelopes, you're putting them in the mail,
Yeah.
and that goes to every postal customer.
Correct.
And then also every address will get the supplement in 98110. And many of us in the nonprofit world will be reminding you too, because we'll put little things at the bottom of our emails, or we'll put out signs in front of the building, or we'll drop little hints in our newsletters to let you know that this is the time. And although it is the end of the year and there's a lot of anticipation
Yes.
of about what's gonna, what your number's gonna be on the 31st. And we've had some great years with support, I know. The campaign goes on all year long. So if you realize on January 5th that, oops, I missed, you didn't miss.
You
can
didn't
still,
miss. That's
we're
right.
still grateful for your donation, even
We're
if it comes
open
in
year
August.
round. We tend to, as you know, because you've been through it many times, Reed, our big push, our active push is for fourth quarter / year end giving, because that tends to be when people think about it. But yep, we're open for business year round, open for donations year round, anytime. And if you don't want to do it all at once, like you mentioned, we have that recurring option. You can donate monthly, amortize throughout the year, or quarterly, or whatever works for you.
Yeah, and that's a great way if you're feeling like you want to give to an organization, but you can take it easier if you just spread it out a little bit.
Yep.
You can turn out as an organization. And I guess, Susan, you say you've been in fundraising. We love those recurring donations because it makes it easier for you to give an extra $20 or $100 or more because you've spread it out and it doesn't hit your budget all at once.
Exactly. That really helps. Plus the fact that, don't be embarrassed if all you can give is $25. I'm not, my feeling is
and then also I will point out that 250, that would give you actually 12 shares of the community fund versus just 1 share. So that's another little trick of, Yep.
Well, those are the questions I had. It sounds like we're off to a good year. I want people to not throw away the red envelope when it comes in the mail.
Don't recycle it.
And also, although you often tend to take that review, don't tell them I said this, and take all that stuff and take it out. Don't do that. This one you want to keep a hold of.
I'll remind my family too to watch out for the red envelope. They're responsible.
There you go.
And I will say that we'll also have lots in my office right here. We have lots of extras because they only get mailed to residential addresses on Bainbridge. So anyone who's off island won't receive one of these. And I know a lot of organizations have donor bases, elsewhere. So you can always pick up an extra copy. We have an online version too on our website. You can download a PDF of the donation form. So there's lots of ways to sort of share it with friends and family far and wide if you know someone off island who would like to give.
Well, maybe after the big mailing, I'll check back with you and bring a few over here to the Senior Community Center in case anybody wants to.
For sure. I can bring you a big stack.
because we do have members, not only people like Susan who might not be here all year, but also folks who live in
Right.
Silverdale and Suquamish and
Mhm, mhm.
Kingston who come down. So thank you again,
Yes,
Lisa. I really
absolutely.
appreciate you
you.
taking the time, and it's
I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the organization. Thank you.
you're
It's
welcome.
exciting. Thank you.